5 years. That's how long I've been visiting this park. The same bench, the same view, the same hollow feeling in my chest where my heart used to be. People say time heals all wounds, but they've never lost what I lost. They've never held death in their arms before they could even hold life. My name is Nia, and I'm 30 years old. Most days, I feel like I'm 90. I come here because children's laughter used to make me cry, and my therapist said I needed to desensitize myself to triggers. So here I sit, pretending to read a book I've been stuck on, page 47, for 3 months. While mothers push swings and fathers chase giggling toddlers across the grass, the gold locket around my neck feels heavier than usual today. Inside, there's a date, May 14th in 2020, the day my son died. Or at least, that's what I was told. I turn the page without reading it. The words blur together anyway. That's when I hear it, a soft thud against my shoe, a small soccer ball, slightly deflated, striped in blue and yellow. I look down at it, then up at the sound of small footsteps running toward me. "I'm so sorry, miss." The voice belongs to a little boy, maybe 5 years old, with messy dark hair that catches the sunlight. He's wearing a dinosaur t-shirt and shorts with grass stains on the knees. But it's not his clothes, I notice. It's his eyes. My book falls from my hands. His eyes? One is hazel green. The other has a splash of brown in the iris. Heterochromia, just like mine, just like my father's. A genetic marker that appears in less than 1% of the population. "Miss, are you okay?" The boy tilts his head, and that's when I see it. On the left side of his neck, just below his ear, a birthmark. Not just any birthmark, it's shaped like a tiny heart, maybe the size of a dime. My father had the exact same mark. My grandfather had it. I don't have it, but I carry the gene. My hands are shaking. I can't breathe. The boy picks up his ball, still looking at me with concern that seems too mature for his age. I can't form words. "Leo! Leo!" A man's voice cuts through the air like a blade. A voice I know better than my own. My husband's voice. Marcus appears from behind the jungle gym, jogging toward us. His face is flushed from the exertion, but the moment his eyes land on me, every drop of color drains from his skin. He stops dead in his tracks, maybe 15 feet away, staring at me like he's seen a ghost. And maybe he has. Because the wife he left at home this morning, the wife he thinks is sedated and sleeping off another bad day, is sitting right here in front of him. "Daddy, I was just getting my ball." The boy starts. "Daddy." He called him Daddy. "Leo, come here, now." Marcus's voice is tight, controlled, but I can hear the panic underneath. He's not looking at the boy. He's looking at me. And in his eyes, I see something I've never seen before. Fear. A woman's voice calls out from near the parking lot. "Marcus!" "Did you find him?" She's elegant, expensively dressed in white linen pants and a silk blouse that probably costs more than my monthly therapy bill. Her hair is perfect. Her makeup is perfect. Everything about her screams money and control. She walks toward us in designer sandals, her eyes locked on the boy with a mixture of possessiveness and irritation. "There you are, Leo. How many times have I told you not to run off?" She reaches for the boy's hand, pulling him close to her side. That's when she notices me. Her eyes scan me dismissively, the way wealthy women look at people they consider beneath them. "Come on, sweetheart. We have your violin lesson in 30 minutes. "Sweetheart." She called him sweetheart. The boy, Leo, looks back at me one more time as they start to walk away. "Bye, miss. I hope you feel better." Marcus lingers for just a second longer. Our eyes meet, and in that moment, I see everything. The guilt, the terror, the calculation of a man trying to figure out if his entire world is about to collapse. Then he turns and follows the woman and the boy toward a sleek black Mercedes in the parking lot. I sit frozen on that bench, my heart hammering so hard I think it might break through my ribs. The locket around my neck feels like it's burning my skin. That boy, those eyes, that birthmark, that age, 5 years old. My hands reach for my phone, trembling so violently I almost drop it. I pull up the photo I've kept hidden in a locked folder. The only ultrasound picture they gave me before Marcus said our baby didn't make it. I zoom in on the timestamp. May 14th, 2020, 5 years and 2 months ago. I watch the Mercedes pull out of the parking lot, and something inside me, something that died 5 years ago, suddenly roars back to life. That's my son. Marcus told me our baby died, but he didn't die. He stole him. I don't remember driving home. One moment I'm sitting on that bench, watching the black Mercedes disappear around the corner, and the next I'm standing in my bathroom, gripping the sink so hard my knuckles have turned white. The face staring back at me from the mirror looks like a stranger. Eyes wild, skin pale, hair disheveled. I look like a woman on the edge of sanity. Maybe I am. Maybe I've finally lost my mind, and that boy in the park was just a hallucination. Another cruel trick my grief-soaked brain is playing on me. It wouldn't be the first time. In the first year after losing my baby, I saw him everywhere. In every stroller, every cry, every bundle of blankets in a stranger's arms. But this was different. This wasn't a fleeting glimpse or a mind playing tricks. This was real. That boy was real. Those eyes were real. That birthmark was real. And Marcus's face when he saw me? That terror was very, very real. I opened the medicine cabinet with shaking hands. Inside, lined up like soldiers, are the bottles that have been my companions for 5 years. Antidepressants, anti-anxiety medication, sleeping pills. Marcus picks them up for me every month, brings them home, watches me take them with the diligence of a nurse monitoring a patient. My devoted husband, my rock, the man who held me while I screamed into his chest that I wanted to die too. The man who assured me it wasn't my fault, that these things just happen, that we would get through this together. I sweep my arm across the shelf, sending every bottle crashing into the sink. Pills scatter like confetti, bouncing off porcelain, some swirling down the drain. I watch them disappear, and with them, 5 years of fog begins to lift. I need to think. I need to remember. I walk to the bedroom, to the closet I haven't opened in 5 years. The door sticks slightly. It hasn't been touched in so long. Inside, on the top shelf, is a box, a white box with a small blue ribbon. The box I was never strong enough to open. I pull it down now, my hands steadier than they've been in years. Inside are the things they gave me at the hospital. A tiny knitted hat, blue and white, a blanket with yellow ducks on it, a pamphlet about grieving infant loss, and at the bottom, a single piece of paper, a death certificate, baby boy Thompson, born May 14th, 2020 at 11:47 p.m. Died May 14th, 2020 at 11:52 p.m. Cause of death: respiratory failure due to underdeveloped lungs. I read it over and over, and for the first time, I noticed things I was too broken to see before. The signature at the bottom belongs to Dr. Raymond Kershaw, Marcus's college roommate, Marcus's best friend, the man who owned the private clinic where I gave birth, the clinic Marcus insisted on. "It'll be more comfortable," he said. "More private. Ray will take good care of you." I close my eyes and force myself to go back to that night. I've spent 5 years trying to forget it, but now I need to remember every detail. I was 37 weeks pregnant. Not quite full term, but close enough that when the contractions started, Marcus said we should go to Ray's clinic instead of waiting for my scheduled hospital delivery. "Ray's expecting us," he said. "Everything's ready." The drive was a blur. The pain was intense but manageable. I remember thinking I was strong enough for this. I remember feeling excited, terrified, ready. I remember Marcus holding my hand in the car, telling me how proud he was of me, how our lives were about to change forever. He was right about that last part. We arrived at the clinic around 9 p.m. It was small, boutique, the kind of place that caters to wealthy women who want to give birth in luxury. Ray was waiting for us with a nurse named Helen. She had kind eyes. I remember that. She helped me into a gown, monitored the baby's heartbeat, told me everything looked perfect. "Strong heartbeat," she said, smiling. "Your little boy is eager to meet you." The labor progressed quickly. Too quickly, Marcus said. He looked worried. kept conferring with Ray in hushed tones by the door. I was too focused on breathing through contractions to pay attention to what they were saying. Around 11, the pain became unbearable. I begged for an epidural. Ray came over with a needle. "This will help," he said. "Just a little pinch." I remember the cold sensation in my spine. I remember the relief as the pain began to ebb. And then I remember feeling very, very tired. Too tired. Like I was sinking into the bed, into darkness, into nothing. "Marcus," I called out, my voice slurring. "Something's wrong." "Shh, it's okay, baby. Just rest. I'm right here." His face hovered above mine, but it looked strange. Distorted, like I was seeing him through water. "The baby," I tried to say, but my tongue felt thick in my mouth. "I'll take care of everything," he whispered. "Just sleep." And then nothing, just black, dreamless sleep. When I woke up, it was morning. Sunlight streamed through unfamiliar windows. I was in a recovery room, alone except for a different nurse, not Helen, sitting in the corner reading a magazine. My hands flew to my stomach. Flat, empty. My baby," I croaked, my throat raw. "Where's my baby?" The nurse looked up, her expression carefully neutral. "Let me get the doctor." Marcus came instead, his eyes red-rimmed, his face drawn with what I thought was grief. He sat on the edge of my bed and took my hands in his. They were cold. "Nia," he said softly, "I'm so sorry." Those words, those 3 words that shattered my entire world. He told me that there had been complications, that the baby's lungs weren't developed enough, that they tried everything, but he only lived for 5 minutes, that it all happened while I was unconscious, and by the time I could have been woken up, it was already too late. "I held him," Marcus said, tears streaming down his face. "I held our son while he took his last breath." "I'm so sorry you didn't get to say goodbye," I screamed. I screamed until my voice gave out, until nurses came running, until someone injected something into my IV that made the world go soft and quiet again. Later, hours, days, I don't know, I begged to see my baby's body. I needed to hold him, to see his face, to know he was real. Marcus said no. Ray said no. They said it would traumatize me further, that it was better to remember the pregnancy, the dreams, the hope, rather than the reality of death. They said the baby had already been taken to the morgue, that the state required immediate processing for infant deaths, that by the time I was stable enough, it would be too late. They said a lot of things. And I, broken and drugged and drowning in grief, believed every word. I opened my eyes, back in the present, the death certificate still clutched in my hand. A new thought strikes me, sharp and clear. I never saw Helen again after that night. The kind nurse who said my baby's heartbeat was strong. She vanished, replaced by rotating staff during my recovery. I grabbed my laptop and searched for the clinic, Kershaw Women's Health Center. The website is still up, but there's a notice across the homepage, closed permanently as of August 2020. 3 months after my son was born, 3 months after he allegedly died, I dig deeper, searching for news articles, public records, anything. And then I find it. A small mention in a medical licensing board report. Dr. Raymond Kershaw, license revoked due to violations of ethical standards and falsification of medical records. The details are sealed, but the date of the investigation, July 2020. My hands are shaking again, but not from grief this time. From rage. I pull out my phone and scroll through my photos, looking for anything from that time. There aren't many. I deleted most of them in the year that followed, unable to bear looking at my pregnant self, so full of hope and life. But I find one. A selfie Marcus took of us at the clinic entrance, just before I went into labor. I zoom in on the background. There, barely visible through the glass doors, is Helen. And she's not alone. She's talking to someone, and even in the blurry reflection, I can see she looks upset, her hands gesturing emphatically. I download a photo enhancement app, The kind crime shows always use. It takes 3 tries, but finally, I can make out enough detail. Helen is arguing with Ray, and in her hands is a clipboard with something written on it. I enhance further, pushing the resolution to its limit. The words are barely legible, but I can make out 2, falsified and consent. My breath catches. What did Helen know? What did she try to stop? I search for her name, combining it with the clinic, with Ray's name, with anything I can think of. It takes almost an hour, but I finally find a LinkedIn profile. Helen Morales, RN, currently working at County General Hospital, the same hospital where I should have given birth. I have her work number in 30 seconds. My finger hovers over the call button. It's late, almost midnight. But I can't wait. I can't spend another night not knowing. The phone rings 4 times before a tired voice answers. County General, 4th floor. Helen Morales, please. It's urgent. She's on break. Can I take a message? Tell her it's about Kershaw Clinic. Tell her it's about the baby who didn't die. There's a long pause. Hold on. 3 minutes feel like 3 hours. Then a different voice comes on the line, sharp and wary. Who is this? My name is Nia Thompson. You were my nurse on May 14th, 2020. You told me my baby had a strong heartbeat, and then they made me sleep. And when I woke up, they told me he was dead. Silence. Helen, please. I saw a boy today, 5 years old. He has my eyes. He has my family's birthmark. And my husband, the man you saw me with that night, was with him. Please, I need to know what happened. I hear her breath catch. When she speaks again, her voice is barely a whisper. I can't talk about this on a work line. Meet me tomorrow. Lou's Diner on 5th Street. 6 a.m. Come alone. Helen, wait. But she's already hung up. I sit in the darkness of my bedroom, the death certificate in one hand, my phone in the other, and I feel something I haven't felt in 5 years. Purpose. Marcus is working a double shift tonight. He won't be home until morning. That gives me time. Time to search our house for evidence. Time to look through everything with new eyes. Eyes that aren't clouded by medication and manufactured grief. I start with his office. The room I'm rarely allowed to enter because it's too messy, and work stress should stay at work. The door isn't locked. Why would it be? I've been so passive, so broken, so perfectly controlled. Inside, everything looks normal. Desk, computer, filing cabinets. I go through the papers first. Bills, medical journals, mortgage statements. Nothing unusual. But then I find a folder labeled Personal 2020. Inside are bank statements from an account I've never seen before. Large withdrawals, all from May through August 2020. 20,000 here, 15,000 there, culminating in a single payment of $50,000 on August 15th. There's a notation, final payment, VH, VH. I think about the woman from the park. The elegant woman with the possessive grip on Leo's hand. What was her name? She didn't introduce herself, but Marcus called her... No, wait. He didn't call her anything. But Leo mentioned something as they were leaving, something about Mom's car. I need to find out who she is. I photograph every page of the statements, then carefully return everything to exactly how I found it. Marcus can't know I'm suspicious. Not yet. Not until I have proof. Not until I have a plan. As I'm leaving his office, my foot catches on something under his desk. A small cardboard box, pushed far back against the wall, covered in dust. I pull it out, my heart pounding. Inside are things I've never seen before. A burner phone, dead but still intact. A passport, Marcus's photo, but a different name, Marcus Hendricks. And at the bottom, wrapped in tissue paper, a hospital bracelet. A tiny hospital bracelet meant for an infant's wrist. It reads, Baby Boy Thompson, born 5/14/2020, 11:47 p.m. Mother, Nia Thompson. I hold it up to the light, and that's when I see it. The bracelet has never been worn. It's still attached to its activation strip. This isn't the bracelet they put on my son. This is a spare, a prop, a piece of evidence that was supposed to be destroyed. I put it in my pocket. Tomorrow, I meet Helen. Tomorrow, I start getting answers. But tonight, I sit in the dark and remember something my mother told me before she died, when I was just a little girl. Nia, baby, you have the same eyes as your daddy and granddaddy. Those eyes, they're a gift. They see things other people miss. Don't ever let anyone convince you that what you see isn't real. I saw my son today, and I'm going to get him back. I don't sleep. How could I? Instead, I spend the night cataloging every lie, every manipulation, every moment over the past 5 years that suddenly makes terrible sense, the way Marcus always insisted on picking up my medications himself. You shouldn't have to deal with the pharmacy, babe. You're going through enough. Translation: I need to control what you take and how much. The way he discouraged me from seeing friends or family. They don't understand what we've been through. Their pity just makes it harder. Translation: I need you isolated so no one questions our story. The way he'd take those mysterious work trips 3 or 4 times a month, always to the same city 3 hours north. Medical conference, he'd say. Consulting work. Translation: I'm going to see my other family. My other family. The words taste like poison in my mouth. At 5:30 a.m., I'm sitting in my car outside Lou's diner, watching the sky turn from black to deep purple to pale gray. The diner is one of those old chrome places that's been here since the 50s, with red vinyl booths and a jukebox that probably still works. At this hour, it's mostly empty except for a few truck drivers and night shift workers grabbing coffee before heading home. Helen arrives at 5:55, pulling up in a 10-year-old Honda with a dented bumper. She's in her late 40s, her hair grayer than I remember, her face lined with the kind of exhaustion that comes from too many double shifts and too many hard choices. She spots me immediately through the window and hesitates, her hand on the car door, like she's considering driving away. But she doesn't. She gets out, wraps her cardigan tighter around herself against the morning chill, and walks inside. I follow 30 seconds later. She's chosen a booth in the back corner, far from the windows, far from the other customers. When I slide into the seat across from her, she doesn't look up. She's stirring sugar into black coffee with the intensity of someone trying to avoid eye contact. I could lose my nursing license for talking to you, she says quietly. What happened at that clinic? I signed an NDA, a very generous NDA. How generous? I ask. Enough to pay off my daughter's student loans and put a down payment on a house. She finally looks up at me, and her eyes are wet. I'm not proud of it. I haven't been proud of myself for 5 years. A waitress approaches, but I wave her off. This conversation can't have witnesses. Tell me what happened that night, I say, my voice steadier than I feel. Please. Helen takes a long sip of her coffee, then sets it down with shaking hands. Your baby didn't die, Nia. He was born perfect. 10 fingers, 10 toes, screaming his lungs out. Healthiest baby I'd seen in months. The words hit me like a physical blow. I knew it. I knew it in my bones when I saw Leo yesterday, but hearing it confirmed out loud makes the world tilt. Then, why? Your husband planned it, Helen interrupts, her voice barely above a whisper. He planned the whole thing with Dr. Kershaw. They sedated you with something way stronger than a normal epidural. You were supposed to be awake for the birth, but Marcus insisted on the modified anesthesia protocol. That should have been my first red flag, but Ray was the doctor and Marcus was the husband, and I trusted them. She wipes her eyes with a napkin. While you were under, they rushed the delivery. Your son was born, and instead of putting him on your chest like normal protocol, Marcus immediately cut the cord and took him out of the room. He told me the baby needed immediate assessment, that there might be respiratory issues, but I could hear that baby crying in the next room. There was nothing wrong with his breathing. Where did he take him? My fingernails are digging into the vinyl seat. I don't know. A woman was waiting in the parking lot in a black Mercedes. I saw her through the window. Marcus came out with your son wrapped in a blanket and handed him over like a package. Then he came back inside, and Ray was already forging the death certificate. The black Mercedes, the same one I saw at the park yesterday. I confronted Ray. Helen continues. I told him I would report this, that what they did was kidnapping, that you had a right to your own child. He said, she swallows hard. He said that you were mentally unstable, that you'd attempted suicide during the pregnancy, that you'd told Marcus you didn't want the baby, that the woman in the Mercedes was a family friend who could provide a better life, and that this was the most humane option for everyone involved. That's insane! I slam my hand on the table, drawing looks from the truck drivers at the counter. I lower my voice. I never said any of that. I wanted my baby more than anything in the world. I know that now, Helen says miserably. But at the time, Marcus was so convincing. And Ray showed me paperwork, documents that looked official, consent forms with your signature, forged. Obviously, but I didn't know that then. And when Ray offered me the money, when he said the alternative was the clinic going under and everyone losing their jobs, when he promised that you'd be told the baby died peacefully and wouldn't suffer the guilt of giving him away, she covers her face with her hands. I took it. God help me. I took the money and signed the papers and kept my mouth shut. I want to hate her. Part of me does. But I also understand the position she was put in. Lied to, manipulated, offered a devil's bargain when she was probably drowning in her own financial struggles. The clinic closed 3 months later, I say. Ray lost his license. Someone, I don't know who, reported him for multiple violations. The investigation found evidence of falsified records, but nothing about your case specifically. Everything had been scrubbed clean. Marcus made sure of that. I lean forward. Helen, I found my son yesterday. He's 5 years old, he's alive, and he's with the woman from the Mercedes. I need to prove he's mine. I need evidence. Helen reaches into her purse and pulls out a flash drive. I kept copies. I know I shouldn't have, but some part of me knew this was wrong, knew that someday the truth would matter. Here's the original birth record before it was altered. Your son's footprints. The real medical notes from the delivery. Everything that proves he was born alive and healthy. I take the flash drive with trembling hands. It's small, black, weighing almost nothing, and yet it's everything. There's one more thing you should know, Helen says. The woman who took your baby, her name is Vanessa Harrington. She's the daughter of Judge Leonard Harrington, very wealthy, very connected, very used to getting what she wants. She'd been trying to have a baby for years, multiple miscarriages, failed IVF, the whole nightmare. She was desperate. Judge Harrington. My blood runs cold. That explains why Marcus was so confident he'd get away with this. How do you fight a judge's daughter? How do you know all this? I ask. Because she came to the clinic 3 months before your due date. She wanted to adopt privately, off the books, no agencies, no waiting lists. Ray told her it was impossible, illegal, that he could lose everything. But then Marcus showed up with her at a consultation, and suddenly Ray was very interested in making it work. Helen finishes her coffee. I heard them talking in Ray's office. Marcus said his wife was young, healthy, low risk. He said you'd never even have to know. Vanessa offered $200,000, $50,000 up front, the rest after delivery. $200,000. That's what my son was worth to them. That's the price tag on my child, on my grief, on 5 years of my life. I have to go, Helen says, sliding out of the booth. I've already risked too much by meeting you. But Nia, get your baby back. Whatever it takes. I'll deny this conversation ever happened if anyone asks. But that flash drive, let's just say I don't know anything about it. She leaves $2 on the table for her coffee and walks out without looking back. I sit alone in the booth, the flash drive clutched in my fist, and start planning. The first step is confirmation. Helen's evidence is crucial, but I need scientific proof. I need DNA. I spend the rest of the morning at the library, using their computers to research Vanessa Harrington. Social media gives me everything I need. She's one of those women who documents every moment of her life online, which is ironic, considering her entire motherhood is based on a lie. Her Instagram is a parade of perfectly curated moments. Leo at violin lessons, Leo at tennis camp, Leo at expensive restaurants learning to use proper silverware. The comments are full of other wealthy mothers gushing about what a natural mom she is, how blessed she is, how perfect her life seems. If they only knew. I scroll through photos until I find what I'm looking for, a post from 2 days ago showing their house. She's tagged the location, 2847 Whitmore Lane, Silver Pine Estates. The caption reads, "Blessed to call this beautiful neighborhood home. Leo loves his new treehouse." And there, in the background, is a massive colonial-style house with a circular driveway, security cameras, and a yard that looks like it's maintained by professional landscapers. The security cameras are a problem, but not an insurmountable one. I dig deeper into her social media and find her schedule. She's remarkably predictable. Mondays and Wednesdays are violin lessons from 3 to 4 p.m. Tuesdays and Thursdays are tennis at the country club from 4 to 5:30. Fridays are a family dinner night at the Oakmont restaurant, 7 p.m. reservation. Today is Tuesday. At 3 p.m., I'm parked 2 blocks from their house in a rental car. I'm not stupid enough to use my own vehicle. I'm wearing a dark wig I bought from a costume shop, oversized sunglasses, and a service worker's jumpsuit with a fake company logo I printed at the library. I look like any one of the dozens of landscapers, cleaners, and maintenance workers that flow through this neighborhood daily. I watch the house through binoculars. At 3:45 the front door opens, and Vanessa emerges with Leo. She's wearing tennis whites and carrying an expensive-looking racket bag. Leo is in his tennis clothes, a miniature version of country club perfection. They get into the Mercedes and drive away. I give them 10 minutes to make sure they're really gone. Then I drive up to the house. The yard is enormous, surrounded by a decorative fence that's more for show than security. I walk around to the side gate like I belong here, carrying a toolbox I filled with random hardware at a dollar store. If anyone asks, I'm here to fix the irrigation system. No one asks. Rich people don't notice service workers. The backyard is a child's paradise. A playset, a treehouse, a trampoline, and scattered toys despite Vanessa's Instagram perfection. I head straight for the treehouse, where a small juice box sits on the wooden ledge, still half full. I pull out a plastic bag and carefully pick up the juice box by its corners, making sure not to contaminate it with my own DNA. The straw is perfect. Leo's saliva will be all over it. I seal it in the bag, then scan the yard for anything else. There's a small sandbox near the fence. Inside, half buried in the sand, is a Band-Aid, the kind with cartoon characters on it. It's been used. A small spot of dried blood visible on the gauze. I bag that too. I'm almost back to the gate when I hear voices from the neighboring yard. An older woman is talking to her gardener, and they're both looking in my direction. "Excuse me," the woman calls out. "What are you doing in the Harringtons' yard?" My heart hammers, but I keep my expression neutral. "Irrigation repair. Scheduled maintenance." I tap the fake logo on my jumpsuit and wave my toolbox. The woman squints at me. Vanessa didn't mention anyone coming today. Last-minute call. Leak detection. I start walking toward the gate with confidence, not rushing, just someone finishing their job. "All set now. Have a good day, ma'am." I don't wait for her response. I walk out of the yard, get in my car, and drive away at exactly the speed limit, my hands white-knuckled on the steering wheel. 2 blocks away, I pull over and allow myself to breathe. I did it. I have the samples. The DNA testing facility is a nondescript building in the medical district downtown. I chose one that advertises complete privacy and our rapid results. Code for, we don't ask questions. It costs $800 for the expedited service, nearly emptying my personal savings account that Marcus doesn't know about. The technician is a young woman with purple hair and multiple piercings, who looks like she's seen every kind of family drama there is. She takes my cheek swab and the samples I collected without comment, types everything into her computer, and hands me a receipt. "Results in 48 hours, she says. "We'll email you, password protected." 48 hours, 2 days. It feels like an eternity and no time at all. I spend those 2 days in a strange state of hyper-awareness. I go through the motions of my normal life, making breakfast, pretending to take my medication, sitting on the couch staring at daytime television, while Marcus hovers around me with his concerned husband act. "You seem different today," he says. Wednesday morning, studying my face. "Did you sleep okay?" "Fine." I lie. "I haven't slept in 3 days." "You're not taking extra pills, are you?" His voice is casual, but there's an edge underneath. "I worry about you, babe." "No, Marcus, I'm taking exactly what you give me." Another lie. I've been flushing everything down the toilet. He kisses my forehead before leaving for work, and it takes everything in me not to flinch away. His lips on my skin feel like a violation, a contamination. This man, who I loved more than anything, who I trusted with my life, who I believed when he held me and told me our baby was dead. This man is a stranger, a monster wearing my husband's face. Thursday afternoon, 47 hours after I submitted the samples, my phone buzzes with an email notification. The subject line reads, DNA test results, case JAR-A 4782. My hands shake so badly I almost drop the phone. I have to enter the password 3 times before I get it right. The PDF loads slowly, each second stretching into infinity, and then I'm looking at it. Black text on a white background. Scientific and irrefutable. Probability of maternity, 99.9%. I read it again. And again. And again. He's mine. Leo is mine. My son is alive. I print the results at the library, 3 copies, and store them in different locations. One in my car's glove box, one in a safety deposit box I open at a bank across town, one in a waterproof bag buried in my mother's grave at the cemetery. If Marcus tries to destroy the evidence, he won't get all of it. But evidence alone isn't enough. I need a plan. I can't just walk up to the police with this information. Vanessa's father is a judge, and Marcus has spent 5 years building the narrative that I'm unstable, medicated, unreliable. They'll say I'm having a breakdown, that I'm fixating on a random child, that my grief has made me delusional. I need more than proof. I need leverage. I need to get inside their lives, to document everything, to build a case so airtight that not even a judge can make it disappear. That's when I see it, scrolling through Vanessa's social media that night. A new post from 6 hours ago. Looking for a highly qualified tutor for our gifted 5-year-old. Must have experience with advanced learners, excellent references, and availability Monday, Friday, 2-6 p.m. Competitive pay for the right candidate. DM for details. The post has hundreds of comments already. Other mothers recommending people, tutors offering their services, the usual social media chaos. But I'm looking at the photo she posted with it. Leo sitting at a piano, his small hands on the keys, looking frustrated. The caption, "He's so smart but gets overwhelmed easily. Needs someone patient and nurturing." My son needs me, even if he doesn't know it yet. I spend the next 3 hours creating a new identity. Sarah Mitchell, master's degree in early childhood education from a university in Oregon. 5 years experience with gifted children. Impeccable references from families I invent wholesale. I create an email account, a LinkedIn profile with a stock photo of a woman who looks nothing like me, even a small website showcasing my tutoring philosophy. Then I go to the costume shop and buy more than a wig this time. I get colored contact lenses that hide my heterochromia, glasses with clear lenses, subtle makeup that changes the shape of my face. I buy clothes from consignment stores. Expensive brands, slightly outdated, the kind a well-educated but not wealthy tutor might wear. I practice in front of the mirror, changing my posture, my voice, the way I move. Nia Thompson is small, hunched, broken. Sarah Mitchell is confident, professional, warm, different people entirely. At midnight, I send my application through Vanessa's Instagram DM. Dear Mrs. Harrington, I saw your post seeking a tutor and wanted to reach out personally. I specialize in working with gifted children who need patience and individualized attention. I'd love to discuss how I might support Leo's development. My schedule is flexible, and I can provide references upon request. Best regards, Sarah Mitchell, M.Ed. I attach my fake resume and hit send. Then I wait. Friday morning, there's a response. Sarah, thank you for reaching out. Your qualifications look excellent. Could you come for an interview today at 2 p.m.? I'd like Leo to meet you as well. It's important they connect. Looking forward to it. Vanessa. I stare at the message for a long time. This is it. Once I walk through that door, there's no going back. I'll be face to face with the woman who's been raising my son. I'll be in the same house where he sleeps, plays, lives a life that should have been with me, and I'll have to pretend I'm a stranger. I type my response. 2 p.m. works perfectly. See you then. Marcus is at work. He won't know where I am. And even if he did, he wouldn't recognize Sarah Mitchell. I spend the morning transforming myself. The wig, the contacts, the glasses, the clothes. I practice my new voice, my new mannerisms, my new story. By the time I'm done, even I barely recognize myself in the mirror. At 1:30, I drive toward Silver Pine Estates, toward the house where my son lives, toward the beginning of the end of Marcus and Vanessa's perfect lie. I park down the street at 1:55, check my appearance one last time, and walk up to 2847 Whitmore Lane. The doorbell chimes softly. Footsteps approach from inside. The door opens, and there she is. Vanessa Harrington, even more polished in person than in photos, looking me up and down with the assessing gaze of someone used to hiring help. "Sarah?" she says, smiling. "Please, come in." I smile back, every tooth showing. "Thank you so much for having me." And I step inside the house where they're keeping my son. The inside of the house is exactly what I expected. Magazine perfect, sterile, expensive. Everything is white or cream or pale gray, with carefully placed abstract art on the walls and furniture that looks like it's never been sat on. Fresh flowers in crystal vases. Hardwood floors so polished I can see my reflection. The kind of home that's designed to impress, not to live in, not to raise a child in. Vanessa leads me through a foyer with a chandelier that probably costs more than my car, past a living room that looks like a furniture showroom, and into what she calls the family room. It's slightly less formal. There's actually a couch that looks comfortable, and a massive television mounted above a fireplace that's filled with decorative birch logs that have clearly never been burned. "Please, have a seat," Vanessa says, gesturing to an armchair. She sits across from me on the pristine couch, crossing her legs with practiced elegance. She's wearing cream-colored slacks and a silk blouse that probably requires dry cleaning. Her jewelry is understated but clearly expensive. A delicate gold necklace, small diamond studs, a watch that costs more than most people's monthly rent. "Can I get you anything? Water? Coffee?" she asks. "Water would be lovely. Thank you." She presses a button on her phone, and 30 seconds later, a woman in a housekeeper's uniform appears with a tray containing 2 glasses of sparkling water with lemon slices. The housekeeper doesn't make eye contact with either of us, just sets down the tray and disappears. I take a sip, trying to keep my hand from shaking. I'm sitting in the same room where my son lives, breathing the same air. The urge to scream, to tear this place apart looking for him, is almost overwhelming. But Sarah Mitchell wouldn't do that. Sarah Mitchell is calm, professional, here for a job interview. "Your resume is very impressive," Vanessa says, pulling out a printed copy. 5 years with the Morrison family in Portland, 3 years before that with the Chen family in Seattle. Both families gave you glowing references. Of course they did. I wrote the references myself. And I was very fortunate to work with wonderful families, I say, keeping my voice steady and warm. Gifted children are my passion. There's something magical about watching a young mind grasp concepts that challenge even adults. Vanessa nods approvingly. Leo is exceptionally bright. His IQ tested at 138 when he was 4, but he can be difficult, sensitive. He cries when he makes mistakes, refuses to practice when things don't come easily. His violin teacher says he has perfect pitch but gets frustrated during lessons. My heart breaks hearing this. My son, struggling and frustrated, while this woman treats his emotions like character flaws. Perfectionism in gifted children often stems from anxiety, I say carefully. They're smart enough to see the gap between where they are and where they want to be, but they don't yet have the emotional tools to handle that frustration. Patience and positive reinforcement can help tremendously. Exactly. Vanessa leans forward, and I see genuine relief in her expression. His father thinks I'm too hard on him, but I just want Leo to reach his potential. He has so many advantages, the best schools, the best teachers, every opportunity. He needs to appreciate that and work hard. His father. She means Marcus, the man who stole our son and gave him to her like a pet. Children respond better to encouragement than pressure, I say, choosing my words carefully, especially at 5. They're still so young. He'll be 6 in May, Vanessa says. We're planning a big party. Pony rides, magician, The works, only the best for our boy. May 14th, his real birthday, my hands tighten around the water glass. That sounds wonderful, I manage. I'd love to meet Leo, if that's possible. Of course, he's in his playroom. Let me go get him. Vanessa stands, smoothing her blouse. Fair warning, he might be shy at first. He's not always comfortable with new people. She leaves, and I'm alone in the family room. I stand quickly, scanning everything I can. There are photos on the mantle, professional shots of Vanessa, Marcus, and Leo in coordinated outfits. Everyone's smiling perfectly. In one photo, Marcus has his hand on Leo's shoulder, and the resemblance between them is unmistakable. Same dark hair, same strong jawline. Anyone would believe they're father and son. Because they are. Biologically, Marcus is Leo's father. He just happened to steal him from his mother. There are no photos of me. No evidence that I ever existed in Leo's life. They've erased me completely. I hear footsteps and quickly sit back down, arranging my face into a pleasant smile. Vanessa returns, and behind her, holding her hand reluctantly, is Leo, my son. He's wearing khaki pants and a button-down shirt, formal clothes for a 5-year-old at home in the afternoon. His hair is neatly combed, his shoes are spotless. He looks like a miniature adult, except for his eyes. Those eyes, my eyes, are wary and uncertain as he looks at me. Leo, this is Miss Sarah, Vanessa says, her voice taking on that artificially sweet tone adults use with children they don't actually understand. She might be your new tutor. Can you say hello? Hello, Leo says quietly, barely above a whisper. Hi, Leo, I say, and my voice almost breaks. I'm looking at my son, my baby, the child I thought was dead. He's real and alive and standing 10 feet away from me, and I can't grab him, can't hold him, can't tell him the truth. It's very nice to meet you. Miss Sarah went to a special school to learn how to help smart kids like you. Vanessa continues. Doesn't that sound nice? Leo doesn't respond. He's staring at me with an expression I can't quite read. Curious, confused. Leo, don't be rude, Vanessa says sharply. Answer when someone speaks to you. I see him flinch slightly and rage floods through me, but I keep my voice gentle. It's okay. I know meeting new people can feel a little strange. Leo, do you like music? I noticed the piano in the other room. He nods slowly. Do you like playing or just listening? He considers this carefully, then says, both, but playing is hard. The best things usually are, I say, but that's what makes them worth doing. What's your favorite song? Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star, he says, and a tiny smile appears on his face. Mozart wrote it. Did you know? It has a fancy name, theme, and variations. Variations, I confirm, smiling back. That's right. You're very smart to know that. See, Leo? Miss Sarah knows music too, Vanessa says. Why don't you show her your playroom? Leo looks uncertain, but he takes a step toward me. Then another. He's close enough now that I could touch him, could pull him into my arms, close enough that I can see the tiny heart-shaped birthmark on his neck, the mark that proves he's mine. Okay, he says softly. Or follow me. I stand and walk behind him, leaving Vanessa in the family room. We go upstairs, thick carpet, more expensive art, a hallway lined with closed doors. Leo opens one at the end, and we enter what can only be described as a toy store explosion. The playroom is massive, with built-in shelves containing hundreds of toys, most of them still in their original packaging. There's a reading corner with a tiny armchair and a bookshelf full of advanced chapter books, a craft table covered in art supplies that look unused, a telescope by the window, a globe, educational puzzles, everything a child could want, except the one thing that matters. Love. Leo walks to the window and looks out at the backyard, his small shoulders hunched. Do you like your playroom? I ask gently. He shrugs. It's okay. Just okay. You have so many wonderful toys. Mom says I have to keep it clean, he says, still looking out the window. She gets mad if I make a mess, and I have to be careful because everything is expensive. my heart shatters. A 5-year-old boy surrounded by hundreds of toys he's too afraid to play with. Can I tell you a secret? I say, sitting on the floor near him. The best part about toys isn't keeping them perfect. It's using them. Making a mess means you're having fun. And fun is more important than expensive. He turns to look at me, those heterochromatic eyes studying my face. You smell nice, he says suddenly. Like cookies and flowers. I smile, even as tears threaten behind my contact lenses. Thank you. That's very sweet. Mom smells like perfume, he continues. It makes my nose tickle sometimes. But your smell is softer. We sit in silence for a moment, and then he says something that makes my breath catch. Are you going to leave like the other tutors? There were other tutors? 3, he says, holding up 3 fingers. They all left. Mom said they weren't good enough. But I think... He lowers his voice to a whisper. I think they left because Mom yelled too much. I move closer, sitting beside him on the floor. Leo, if I become your tutor, I promise I won't leave unless you want me to. How does that sound? He looks at me for a long moment, then nods. Okay. Will you show me your favorite toy? He walks to a shelf and pulls out something from behind a row of untouched educational games. It's a small, worn, stuffed elephant, gray and soft, with one ear slightly torn. It looks loved, well used, completely out of place among all the pristine items. This is Peanut, he says, holding the elephant carefully. He's my best friend. Mom says I'm too old for stuffed animals, but Dad lets me keep him if I hide him. Dad, Marcus, the man who lets our son hide his favorite toy like it's contraband. Peanut looks very special, I say, and you're not too old for best friends, no matter what shape they come in. Leo smiles, a real, genuine smile, and sits back down next to me, holding Peanut in his lap. Will you read to me? He asks, pointing to the bookshelf. Mom says I should read by myself because I'm gifted, but sometimes I just want someone to read to me. I would love to read to you, I say, my voice thick with emotion. He picks out a book, Where the Wild Things Are, and settles in next to me, close enough that our shoulders touch. As I open the book and begin to read, Leo leans against me slightly, and I feel his small body relax. This is my son. This is my baby, and he feels safe with me, even though he doesn't know who I am. I'm halfway through the book when Vanessa's voice calls from downstairs. Leo, time for your French lesson. Leo's entire body tenses. I don't like French, he whispers. The teacher is mean. We all have to do things we don't like sometimes, I say gently. But I'll be right here when you're done, okay? He nods reluctantly and stands, tucking Peanut back into his hiding spot. Will you come back? He asks. And there's such vulnerability in his voice that I want to cry. Yes, I promise. I'll come back. Downstairs, Vanessa is waiting with a tall, severe-looking woman who must be the French tutor. She doesn't even greet Leo, just says, Allons-y, nous sommes en retard. Leo follows her to another room, his shoulders slumped. Vanessa turns to me, smiling. Well, what do you think? He's a wonderful child, I say honestly. Sensitive, intelligent, creative. I'd be honored to work with him. Perfect. When can you start? Whenever you need me. Monday, 2 to 6, Monday through Friday, as the posting said. We'll pay $25 an hour. $625 a week to be with my own son. The irony would be funny if it wasn't so tragic. That sounds perfect, I say. We shake hands, and her grip is cool and dry. I should mention, she says, Leo's father travels frequently for work, but when he's home, he's very protective. He'll want to meet you at some point. Is that all right? Of course, I say, my heart racing. I understand completely. She walks me to the door, already pulling out her phone to handle her next task. I'm dismissed. Just another employee, another service provider in her perfect life. I walk to my car in a daze. I did it. I'm in. Starting Monday, I'll see my son every single day. The weekend passes in agonizing slow motion. I spend it perfecting my Sarah Mitchell persona, memorizing every detail of my fake background in case Marcus or Vanessa ask questions. I also spend it watching Marcus, studying him with new eyes. He comes home Saturday afternoon with groceries and immediately checks my pill bottles in the bathroom. I watch him through the cracked bedroom door as he counts, making sure I've been taking them. Satisfied, he comes to find me on the couch. "How are you feeling today, babe?" he asks, sitting beside me and pulling me into a hug that feels like a cage. "Okay," I say, letting my body stay limp and passive the way it has for 5 years. "Tired. You should rest more. You've been looking stressed lately." He kisses my forehead. "I worry about you." I want to scream. I want to claw his eyes out. But instead, I just nod and lean against him, playing the broken bird he's spent years creating. "I have to go out of town next week," he says. "Tuesday through Thursday. Medical conference in the city. Will you be okay alone?" The city. Where Vanessa and Leo live, of course. "I'll be fine," I say quietly. "I always am." He squeezes me tighter. "That's my girl, strong and brave." I close my eyes and think about Monday. About seeing Leo again. About beginning to document everything. Sunday night, I barely sleep. I'm too anxious, too angry, too focused on what's coming. Monday morning, Marcus leaves for work at 7. At 1 o'clock, I transform into Sarah Mitchell again. Wig, contacts, glasses, different clothes, different posture, different everything. I leave my wedding ring in a drawer. Sarah Mitchell isn't married. I arrive at the Harrington house at 1:55. Vanessa opens the door, already on her phone, having an animated conversation about a charity gala. She waves me in distractedly and points toward the stairs. "Leo's in his room," she mouths, then returns to her conversation. No, I specifically said white roses, not cream. White? There's a difference, Michelle." I climb the stairs alone and knock softly on Leo's bedroom door. "Come in," his small voice calls. He's sitting on his bed, still in his school uniform. A private academy, I realize, seeing the crest on his polo shirt. He looks exhausted, dark circles under his eyes. "Hi, Leo," I say gently. "Remember me, Miss Sarah?" His face lights up. "You came back. I promised I would, didn't I?" He nods eagerly and pats the bed beside him. "Will you read to me again? Before we have to do the boring stuff." I sit next to him, and he immediately cuddles against my side, exactly like he did Friday. My son, seeking comfort from his own mother without knowing it. I pick up the book on his nightstand, The Velveteen Rabbit, and begin to read. Within 10 minutes, his breathing has evened out. He's fallen asleep against me, one hand clutching my sleeve, the other holding Peanut. I sit very still, barely breathing, savoring this moment. My baby is asleep in my arms. After 5 years of believing he was dead, of mourning an empty coffin, of living in a nightmare, I'm holding my son. Tears slip down my cheeks, but I don't wipe them away. I just hold him, memorizing the weight of him, the smell of his shampoo, the softness of his hair, the rhythm of his breathing. This is what they stole from me. Not just a child, but 5 years of moments like this. 5 years of bedtime stories and scraped knees and first words and birthday candles. 5 years of being a mother. Vanessa's voice suddenly calls from downstairs. "Sarah, is everything all right up there?" I gently shift Leo, laying him down on his bed and covering him with a blanket. He doesn't wake, just curls around Peanut with a soft sigh. I go to the top of the stairs. Vanessa is looking up, her expression annoyed. "He fell asleep," I explain quietly. "He seemed very tired." She sighs dramatically. "He always does this. Tries to avoid his responsibilities by napping. Wake him up, please. He needs to practice violin." With respect, Mrs. Harrington, he looks exhausted. Perhaps he needs the sleep more than the practice today. Her expression hardens. "I don't pay you to make parenting decisions, Miss Mitchell. I pay you to tutor him. Wake him up." Every instinct screams at me to refuse, to protect my son, but I can't blow my cover. Not yet. Of course, I say quietly. I apologize. I return to Leo's room and sit on the edge of his bed, gently touching his shoulder. Leo, sweetie, you need to wake up. His eyes flutter open, confused and groggy. When he sees me, he smiles. I had a dream about you, he says. You were nice in my dream too. My heart breaks and mends simultaneously. What happened in the dream? You took me to the park and pushed me on the swings, and you didn't get mad when I got my clothes dirty. He sits up, rubbing his eyes. It was a good dream. Maybe we can do that for real someday, I say softly. Really? His face is so hopeful. Really? But right now your mom says it's time for violin practice. His expression falls. I don't want to. My fingers hurt from yesterday, and I keep messing up the hard part. How about this? I say. You practice for 20 minutes, really trying your best, and then we'll do something fun together. Deal. He considers this, then nods. Deal. But you have to stay with me during practice. Mrs. Chen always left, and it was scary being alone. I'll stay right there with you, I promise. The whole time. We go downstairs to the music room. Yes, they have an entire room dedicated to music, with a grand piano, the violin, and a cello that looks like it's never been touched. Leo picks up his tiny violin and bows with the resigned air of someone going to their execution. He plays for 23 minutes, and I watch him struggle through a complicated piece that's clearly beyond his current skill level. He makes mistakes, gets frustrated, tries again, makes the same mistakes. His fingers are indeed red and sore from over-practicing, but he doesn't cry. He just keeps trying, glancing at me occasionally like he's checking if I'm still there. When he finishes, I applaud. That was wonderful, Leo. You worked so hard. But I messed up a lot, he says, setting down the violin. You know what messing up means? It means you're learning. Nobody gets things perfect the first time, or the second time, or even the 100th time. What matters is that you keep trying. He thinks about this, then smiles shyly. What's the fun thing we're doing now? What would you like to do? His eyes light up. Can we build a fort with the couch cushions? I always wanted to, but Mom says it's too messy. I glance toward the doorway, where I can hear Vanessa still on the phone in another room. Let's build the best fort ever, I whisper, conspiratorially. We spend the next hour building an elaborate blanket fort in the family room, using every cushion, pillow, and blanket we can find. Leo is giggling, actually giggling, as we drape sheets over chairs and create secret passages. His cheeks are flushed, his eyes are bright, and he looks like what he is. A normal, happy 5-year-old boy. We're inside the fort, Leo explaining his ideas for expanding it, when I hear the front door open. Honey, I'm home, Marcus's voice calls out. My blood turns to ice. He wasn't supposed to be here. He said he was leaving for his conference tomorrow. Vanessa, where is everyone? In the family room, Vanessa calls back. We have Leo's new tutor today. Footsteps approach. Through the gap in our blanket fort, I see expensive shoes, suit pants. Marcus. And what on earth happened in here? He says, and I can hear the irritation in his voice. Leo and his tutor were doing an activity, Vanessa says, her tone defensive. Some kind of bonding exercise. By destroying the living room? The blankets suddenly part, and Marcus is looking into the fort. His eyes scan Leo first, then move to me. Our eyes meet. I'm wearing the wig, the contacts, the glasses. I'm Sarah Mitchell, not Nia Thompson. We've never met before. I'm a stranger, but for just a fraction of a second, I see something flicker in his expression. Recognition, suspicion, fear. Then it's gone, replaced by a professional smile. You must be the new tutor, he says, extending his hand into the fort. Marcus Harrington, Leo's father. I take his hand, my palm against his, and shake. Sarah Mitchell, I say in my Sarah voice, slightly higher than my real one, with a different cadence. It's nice to meet you, Mr. Harrington. Please, call me Marcus. He's studying my face, and I can see his mind working, trying to figure out why I seem familiar. Have we met before? You look familiar somehow. I don't think so, I say, keeping my expression pleasant and neutral. I just moved to the area a few months ago. He's still staring, still trying to place me. Where did you move from? Portland, Oregon. I was working with a family there, but they relocated overseas. Dad, we're building a fort, Leo interrupts, tugging on Marcus's sleeve. Want to see inside? Marcus barely glances at him. Not now, Leo. I need to talk to your mother about something. He looks back at me. Well, welcome to our home, Sarah. I'm sure we'll be seeing a lot of each other. There's something in the way he says it that makes my skin crawl. He walks away with Vanessa, and I hear them talking in low voices in the next room. I can't make out the words, but I can hear the tone. Marcus asking questions, Vanessa defending her decision to hire me. Miss Sarah, are you okay? Leo asks, touching my arm. You look scared. I force a smile. I'm fine, sweetie. Just thinking about what else we can add to our fort. But I'm not fine. Marcus saw me. He looked right at me, held my hand, stood 2 feet away from me. And for now, the disguise held. But for how long? As I help Leo rebuild part of the fort that Marcus disturbed, I make a decision. I can't just document anymore. I can't just wait and gather evidence. Marcus being here, seeing me, changes everything. I need to accelerate my plan. I need to tear their perfect life apart from the inside, piece by piece, until the truth can't be hidden anymore. And I need to do it before Marcus figures out who Sarah Mitchell really is. The game has begun, and this time, I'm not playing to survive. I'm playing to win. Over the next 3 weeks, I become indispensable to Leo's life while systematically destroying Marcus and Vanessa's relationship from the shadows. It starts small. A receipt from a hotel restaurant left in Marcus's jacket pocket. A jacket I know he wore on a Tuesday to his supposed conference day. I make sure Vanessa finds it while doing laundry. She doesn't say anything to me, but I see her face tighten, see her eyes narrow when Marcus comes home that evening. Then there's the lipstick. I buy the cheapest, brightest red I can find at a drugstore, nothing Vanessa would ever wear, and carefully apply a small smudge to Marcus's car collar after he parks in their driveway during one of his visits. Vanessa notices it 3 days later. I'm in the kitchen with Leo when I hear her voice, sharp and accusatory. Who is she, Marcus? Don't you dare lie to me. What are you talking about? His voice is defensive, confused. There's no one, Vanessa. You're being paranoid. Then explain the lipstick. Explain the hotel receipts. Explain why you smell like perfume that isn't mine. The perfume is my touch too. A cheap, cloying scent I spray on his car seats when I accidentally drop Leo's backpack near the Mercedes during pickup. I'm giving Vanessa exactly what she fears most, evidence that Marcus is cheating on her. The irony is delicious. He's not cheating, not in the way she thinks. But he is living a double life. He has a wife 3 hours south who thinks she's his only family. And now his kept woman is starting to suspect she's not his only woman either. Their fights become more frequent, more vicious. I hear them arguing when they think I can't hear, when Leo is supposedly doing homework in his room but is actually sitting on the stairs, listening with frightened eyes. You're never here anymore, Vanessa screams one Thursday. You promised Leo would have a father, and you're always gone. I'm working. Someone has to pay for this lifestyle you love so much. Don't you dare make this about money. This is about you and whatever slut you're seeing. Leo flinches at every raised voice. I find him later, hiding in his closet with Peanut, trying not to cry. Are they getting divorced? He asks me, his voice small and terrified. Like Tommy's parents at school. I don't know, sweetheart, I say honestly, sitting on the floor beside him. Sometimes adults have disagreements. I hate when they yell, he whispers. It makes my tummy hurt. I pull him close, and he burrows into my side like he's trying to disappear. I know. It's scary when people we love are angry. Do you think it's my fault? He asks. Mom says I'm expensive. That's why Dad has to work so much. My heart shatters. My 5-year-old son thinks he's the reason for their problems. Leo, listen to me very carefully, I say, tilting his chin so he's looking at me. Nothing that's happening between your parents is your fault. Not one single thing. Adults have their own problems, and those problems have nothing to do with you being here. Do you understand? He nods, but I can see he doesn't really believe me. That night, I add another piece to my puzzle. I create a fake Facebook profile using photos of a woman I find on a stock photo site. Attractive, available looking. I send Marcus a friend request from Jessica Chen, along with a flirtatious message. Hey stranger, great to see you at the conference last month. We should get coffee sometime. He accepts the request within 2 hours. I make sure Vanessa sees the notification on his phone the next time he's in the shower. She confronts him immediately, dripping wet and furious, and I listen from Leo's room as they tear into each other with words designed to wound. But my real masterpiece comes 2 weeks before Leo's 6th birthday. Vanessa has been planning this party for months. She talks about it constantly, obsessing over every detail. She's rented out an entire event space at the country club, hired a celebrity children's entertainer, ordered a custom cake that costs $800, sent engraved invitations to every wealthy family in their social circle. It's not a birthday party for a child. It's a status display, a competition, a way for Vanessa to prove she's the perfect mother with the perfect life. The guest list includes over 100 people, mostly adults who don't even know Leo, but who matter to Vanessa's social standing. Leo himself seems anxious about it whenever she brings it up. Do I have to wear the suit? He asks me one afternoon while we're working on his reading. It's itchy. Probably, buddy, I say gently. It's a fancy party. I don't want a fancy party, he says quietly. I just want cake and to play with my friends. But Mom says my school friends aren't appropriate guests. Another piece of my heart breaks. My son's 6th birthday party won't have a single one of his actual friends there. Well, I say carefully, sometimes parties are for the grown-ups to enjoy too. That's dumb, he says with the blunt honesty of a child. It's my birthday. Shouldn't it be for me? He's absolutely right, but I can't say that. Instead, I just hug him and promise that we'll do something special, just the two of us, before the big party. The week of the party, tensions in the house reach a breaking point. Marcus is home more often because Vanessa demanded he be present for the planning, but every conversation between them turns into a fight. She's suspicious and paranoid, he's defensive and distant, and Leo is caught in the middle, becoming quieter and more withdrawn every day. On Tuesday, 3 days before the party, something changes. I'm helping Leo with his math homework when Marcus comes home early. I hear the front door open, hear his footsteps, and then I hear him stop. He's seen something. Vanessa, his voice is sharp, commanding. Come here, now! She appears from upstairs, irritated at being summoned. What is it? I'm on the phone with the caterer. Who is that woman in there with Leo? My blood runs cold. The tutor. Sarah. You've met her a dozen times, Marcus. What's wrong with you? Come here, he says again, and his voice has changed. It's dangerous now. Alert. Look at her. Really look at her. I keep my eyes on Leo's workbook, my hand steady even though my heart is racing. I can feel them both staring at me from the doorway. I don't understand, Vanessa says. What am I supposed to be seeing? The way she holds her head, the way she moves. Something about her eyes, even with those glasses. There's a long pause. She reminds me of someone. Who? I don't know. I can't place it. But something isn't right. This is it. The moment I knew would come eventually. Marcus's instincts are kicking in. His subconscious recognizing something his conscious mind hasn't identified yet. I turn toward them, keeping my expression neutral and confused. Is everything all right, Mr. Harrington? He stares at me for a long moment, his eyes narrowed, studying every detail of my face. I can see him trying to put the pieces together, trying to figure out what's bothering him. Where did you say you were from? He asks. Portland, Oregon, I say, keeping my voice steady in Sarah's slightly higher register. And before that, I grew up in Seattle, went to the University of Washington. What year did you graduate? This is a test. He's looking for inconsistencies, gaps in my story. 2012, das, I say without hesitation. I've memorized every detail of Sarah Mitchell's fictional life. What was your thesis about? I smile slightly. I didn't write a thesis. Bachelor's degrees don't require them. I wrote a senior capstone on cognitive development in gifted children, if that's what you're asking. Vanessa huffs impatiently. Marcus, what is this? Why are you interrogating the tutor? But he's not done. Take off your glasses, he says. My heart stops. Without the glasses, with just the contacts and the wig, I'm much more recognizable. I'm sorry, I say. Buying time. Your glasses. Take them off. I want to see your eyes. Marcus, this is ridiculous. Vanessa snaps. Leave her alone. Mr. Harrington, I say carefully. I'm not comfortable with. Leo, go to your room, Marcus interrupts, his eyes never leaving mine. But Dad, we're doing homework. Now, Leo. Leo looks between us, frightened, then gathers his books and runs upstairs. I hear his door close. Marcus takes a step into the room. Take off your glasses. My mind races. If I comply, he might recognize me. If I refuse, he'll know something is wrong. I'm trapped either way. I reach up slowly and remove my glasses, folding them and setting them on the table. Without them, my face is more exposed, but the colored contacts are still hiding my heterochromia, the most distinctive feature I share with Leo. Marcus comes closer, studying my face with an intensity that makes my skin crawl. He's inches away now, close enough that I can smell his cologne, the same cologne he's worn for our entire marriage. I know you, he whispers. I know you from somewhere. Maybe I just have one of those faces, I say, my voice steady even though I'm screaming inside. He reaches out like he's going to touch my face, and I force myself not to recoil. His fingers hover near my cheek, and I see recognition starting to dawn in his eyes. That's when Vanessa's phone rings. She answers it, listens for a moment, then gasps. What? When? Oh my God, we'll be right there. She hangs up, her face pale. And that was the country club. There's been a flood in the event space, a pipe burst. Everything is ruined. The decorations, the setup, everything. The party is canceled. What? Marcus spins toward her, momentarily distracted from me. The party is in 3 days. I know that. Vanessa's voice is rising to a shriek. I know. We need to find a new venue immediately. We need to. She's spiraling, her carefully planned event collapsing around her. I quietly put my glasses back on and stand. I should go. It sounds like you have a lot to deal with. No, wait. Marcus turns back to me, but Vanessa grabs his arm. Marcus, focus. We have 100 guests coming in 3 days and no venue. I need you to call your father's club, see if they have space. I'll see myself out, I say, gathering my things quickly. Leo can finish the homework tomorrow. I'm out the door before Marcus can stop me, my hands shaking as I walk to my car. That was too close, way too close. But as I drive away, I realize something. I don't have time to play the long game anymore. Marcus is getting suspicious, and once he starts actively investigating Sarah Mitchell, my fake identity will crumble. I need to force the confrontation before he's ready for it. I need to make my move at the party that Vanessa will now desperately try to salvage, the party where everyone they know will be watching. The next morning, I call Vanessa as Sarah Mitchell, offering a solution. Mrs. Harrington, I heard about the venue problem. I know this might sound unusual, but my aunt owns a beautiful estate property about 20 minutes from here. She sometimes rents it for events. It's short notice, but I could call her? Vanessa's relief is palpable. Oh my God, Sarah, that would be amazing. Is it nice? Can it hold 100 people? It's gorgeous, I lie. The property I'm thinking of is actually a public park with a large pavilion that can be rented. Gardens, fountains, plenty of space, very elegant. Call her right now. I don't care what it costs. An hour later, I've booked the pavilion under Sarah Mitchell's name. It's actually nicer than the country club space. More open, more natural, with beautiful gardens and a playground area that Leo will actually enjoy. But more importantly, it's public, open. Harder for Marcus and Vanessa to control who comes and goes. Vanessa is ecstatic. Sarah, you're a lifesaver. I don't know what we would have done without you. Happy to help, I say. Leo deserves a special day. You'll be there, right? To help manage things? I'll pay you double your usual rate. Of course. I wouldn't miss it. That night, I make my final preparations. I have the DNA test results. I have Helen's testimony on a recorded voice memo. I have the hospital records showing Leo was born alive. I have photographs of Leo with his distinctive birthmark and heterochromia. I have bank statements showing Marcus's payments to Vanessa. And I have one more thing. A fake police badge and credentials I ordered online. Good enough to fool civilians, along with a wireless panic button that connects directly to the real police. Saturday arrives, May 14th, Leo's 6th birthday, the day he was born, the day Marcus told me he died. I wake up before dawn, my stomach twisted with nerves and anticipation. Today, everything changes. Today, I take back my son. I transform into Sarah Mitchell one last time, knowing this will be the last day I wear this disguise. I arrive at the pavilion early to help with setup. Vanessa is already there, barking orders at the catering staff, the decorator, the entertainment coordinator. Everything has to be perfect. Marcus arrives an hour later with Leo, who's wearing a tiny suit and looking miserable. Hey, buddy. I greet him quietly while Vanessa and Marcus are arguing about the placement of the gift table. Happy birthday. His face lights up when he sees me. Miss Sarah, you're here. Of course I am. I promised, remember. I crouch down to his level. How does it feel to be 6? I don't feel different, he admits. Is that okay? Completely okay. You know what? You can feel however you want on your birthday. It's your day. He hugs me suddenly, his small arms wrapping around my neck. You're my favorite, he whispers. Don't tell Mom. I hold him close, this perfect little boy who doesn't know I'm his mother, breathing in the scent of him, memorizing this moment. Your secret is safe with me, I whisper back. Leo, come here. Vanessa's voice cuts through our moment. The photographer wants pictures. He pulls away reluctantly, and I watch him walk toward his fake parents, this child who was stolen from me, who's been raised by people who treat him like a possession rather than a person. Not for much longer. Guests start arriving around 1 p.m. The pavilion fills with wealthy strangers, all dressed in designer clothes, carrying expensive gifts, offering Vanessa air kisses and compliments. Leo stands beside her, shaking hands and saying, "Thank you for coming," like a trained monkey, his eyes glazed with exhaustion. Not a single child his own age is present, not one actual friend. Marcus is playing the doting father, but I can see the tension in his shoulders. Every so often, his eyes find me in the crowd, studying me with that same suspicious look from Tuesday. He knows something is wrong. He just can't figure out what. I stay busy, helping serve cake, managing the gift table, keeping myself useful and unremarkable. I've hidden the panic button in my pocket, along with copies of all my evidence sealed in a waterproof envelope. At 3 p.m., Vanessa announces it's time for the birthday cake. Everyone gathers around as staff wheel out the massive, elaborate creation, 6 tiers decorated with fondant figures and edible gold leaf. Leo's name is spelled out in letters that probably cost $50 each. They sing, "Happy Birthday." 100 voices filling the pavilion. Leo blows out the candles, and everyone applauds. He's smiling, but I can see it doesn't reach his eyes. "Speech time," Vanessa announces, handing Marcus a microphone. This wasn't in the plan, but Marcus takes it smoothly. "Thank you all for coming to celebrate our son's 6th birthday," he begins, his voice warm and charming. Leo is the light of our lives, our greatest blessing, and we're so grateful to share this day with all of you. I feel rage building in my chest. Our son. Their blessing. He talks about Leo like he's always been theirs. Like there was never a mother 3 hours south who cried herself to sleep for 5 years believing her baby was dead. Marcus continues, "Fatherhood is the greatest gift a man can receive, and I treasure every moment I get to spend with this incredible boy." That's when I see it. Behind the gift table, near the entrance to the pavilion, is a familiar car. My car. The one I drove as Nia Thompson. And leaning against it, watching the party with narrow eyes, is a woman I don't recognize. She's holding a phone and she's recording everything. My heart stops. Who is she? What is she doing here? As if sensing my stare, she looks directly at me. Our eyes meet. And then she starts walking toward the party. Marcus is still giving his speech, but his voice fades into background noise as I watch this woman approach. She's in her 50s, well-dressed, moving with purpose and authority. She walks straight up to Vanessa and shows her something on her phone. Vanessa's face goes white, then red. Then she looks at Marcus with an expression of pure, undiluted rage. "You bastard!" Vanessa screams, loud enough that Marcus stops mid-sentence. "You lying bastard!" The entire party falls silent. 100 faces turn toward the scene unfolding. "Vanessa, what?" Marcus starts, but she's already storming toward him. "This woman just showed me pictures of you with her, your wife, your real wife." My stomach drops. The woman has photos of Marcus and me together. Recent photos, from the past few weeks, taken when I was still pretending to be the medicated, broken Nia. Who is she? How did she find me? Marcus has gone pale. "Vanessa, I can explain." "Explain?" Vanessa's voice is a shriek. "You told me you were divorced. You said she left you. You said Leo was from a previous relationship that ended badly." "Mommy." Leo's voice is small, terrified. He's backing away from his cake, from the screaming, from everything. But Vanessa is beyond reason. "Is that why you wouldn't marry me? Because you already have a wife. Because you're a liar." "That's enough." Marcus grabs her arm, trying to pull her away from the crowd, but she wrenches free. "Don't you dare touch me. I gave up everything for you. I helped you with your insane plan to get a baby because I couldn't have one. I trusted you." The crowd gasps. Someone says, "What plan?" Another voice. "What does she mean? Get a baby?" This is spiraling out of control, but not in the way I planned. I need to redirect this before it becomes about Marcus's affair instead of about the kidnapping. I start moving toward Leo, who's frozen near the cake table, tears streaming down his face. That's when the woman who started all this appears beside me. "Nia Thompson?" she says quietly. I turn to her, my heart pounding. "Who are you?" "Helen Morales sent me. I'm Detective Patricia Morrison, retired. Helen thought you might need backup today." She shows me a badge, a real one, not like my fake. And it looks like she was right. I don't understand. Helen's been tracking this case quietly for 5 years, gathering evidence. She knew you'd found your son. She called me last week, asked me to keep an eye on things today. The detective looks at Marcus and Vanessa, still screaming at each other while guests stand frozen in shock. Looks like this party's about to get a lot more interesting. She's right. Because at that moment, Marcus's eyes land on me. Really land on me. And finally, recognition clicks into place. His face transforms. Shock, horror, understanding. "You," he breathes, pointing at me. "You're..." I reach up and pull off my wig, then my glasses. Then I blink out the contact lenses, revealing my heterochromatic eyes, one hazel green, one with brown in the iris. The same eyes staring at Marcus from his 6-year-old son's face. "Hello, Marcus," I say in my real voice. Nia's voice. "Surprise! I'm not dead, and neither is our son." The entire pavilion erupts. For a moment, the world stops. Marcus stands frozen, his face cycling through emotions so quickly I can barely track them. Denial, recognition, terror, rage. All while 100 people stare at us, phones out, recording everything. "That's not possible," he whispers, but his voice is shaking. You're at home. You're sedated, I finish for him. Medicated into compliance, locked in the cage you built for me. I take a step toward him, and he actually backs up. Not anymore, Marcus. I've been awake for weeks, and I've been here in your other life the whole time. Vanessa is staring at me like I'm a ghost. You're the tutor? You're Sarah Mitchell? There is no Sarah Mitchell, I say, turning to face her. My name is Nia Thompson. And that little boy you've been calling your son, the child you've been parading around like a trophy, he's mine. He's always been mine. No, Vanessa breathes, but there's uncertainty in her eyes now. No, Marcus said. Marcus said a lot of things, I interrupt. He told you his wife left him, that he was free. He told me our baby died during childbirth. He lied to both of us. Vanessa, he lied to everyone. Detective Morrison steps forward, her badge visible now. I'm retired Detective Patricia Morrison. I've been investigating this case independently. Mrs. Harrington, did you legally adopt the child you know as Leo? Vanessa's mouth opens and closes. Marcus handled all the paperwork. He said it was a private adoption, that everything was legal. There was no adoption, I say, my voice breaking slightly. There was a kidnapping. Marcus and his friend Dr. Raymond Kershaw drugged me during labor, took my baby while I was unconscious, and gave him to you. Then they told me he died and gave me a fake death certificate. That's insane! Marcus finally finds his voice. She's having a psychotic break. She's been mentally unstable for years. You can't believe. I have DNA evidence. I cut him off. I pull out the envelope from my pocket and open it, holding up the test results. 99.9% probability of maternity. I had Leo's DNA tested. He's my biological son. The crowd is murmuring now, a wave of shocked whispers. I see phones everywhere, recording, broadcasting this to God knows how many people on social media. I also have hospital records from the night he was born, proving he was delivered alive and healthy. I have testimony from the nurse who was there. I have financial records showing Marcus paid Vanessa $200,000 over the course of 5 months after Leo's birth. And I have this. I hold up the tiny hospital bracelet I found in Marcus's office, the one that was never used. The bracelet that was supposed to go on my son's wrist, the one Marcus kept as insurance, probably. Evidence he didn't quite manage to destroy. Marcus lunges toward me, and for a moment, I think he's going to grab the evidence, but Detective Morrison blocks him with surprising speed for a woman in her 50s. I wouldn't do that if I were you, Mr. Thompson, she says calmly. There are too many witnesses, and I've already called the active duty police. They should be here in about 3 minutes. As if on cue, I hear sirens in the distance. Marcus's face contorts with rage. You have no idea what you've done, he hisses at me. You think you can just take him? You think the courts will give you a child you haven't raised? You're nobody, Naya. You're a broken, medicated mess who can't take care of herself, let alone a child. I was medicated because you were poisoning me. My voice rises, 5 years of pain and rage pouring out. You kept me drugged, kept me isolated, kept me believing the worst thing that ever happened to me was my fault. You took everything from me, Marcus. My son, my sanity, my life. You buried me alive in grief while you played happy family with your mistress. Don't call me that. Vanessa's voice cracks like a whip. She's staring at Marcus now with pure hatred. I'm not his mistress. We have a life together. We have a son. You have my son, I wheel on her. A child you knew wasn't yours. You knew, Vanessa. Maybe you convinced yourself the adoption was legitimate. Maybe you let Marcus handle the details so you could pretend your hands were clean, but you knew something wasn't right. You had to know. Tears are streaming down Vanessa's face, her perfect makeup running in black streaks. He told me the mother was a drug addict who didn't want the baby. He said we were saving him from a terrible life. He said, he lied, I scream. I wanted my baby more than I've ever wanted anything. I spent 5 years mourning him, 5 years visiting an empty grave, 5 years wanting to die because I thought I'd failed as a mother before I'd even had the chance to begin. The sirens are closer now. I can see red and blue lights approaching through the trees. Mommy? A small voice cuts through everything. Leo. I'd almost forgotten he was there, watching all of this unfold. He's standing by the birthday cake, his face pale, his eyes huge and frightened. Peanut, the elephant, is clutched in his hands. He must have grabbed it from somewhere when the chaos started. Mommy, what's happening? He asks Vanessa, his voice trembling. Why is everyone yelling? Vanessa opens her mouth, but no words come out. Who is that lady? Leo asks, pointing at me. Why does she look like Miss Sarah but different? I crouch down, making myself small and non-threatening, even though every instinct screams at me to run to him, to grab him, to never let him go. Leo, I say softly, my name is Nia, and I'm your birth mother. He stares at me, processing this, but Mommy is my mother. He looks at Vanessa, confused and scared. I know this is confusing, sweetheart, and I know it's scary, but I want to tell you something, okay? When you were born, I wanted you so much. I loved you before I even met you. And then some bad people took you away from me and told me you had died. They made me think you were gone forever. But you weren't. You were here, and I've been looking for you, missing you, every single day for 5 years. I don't understand, Leo whispers. I know, baby. I know. My voice breaks on the word baby. But I promise I'll help you understand. We have the same eyes, see? I point to my eyes, then to his. And you have a birthmark shaped like a heart, right here. I touch the left side of my neck, just like your great-grandfather had. That's from my family, from me. Leo's hand goes to his own neck, touching the birthmark. He looks at Vanessa, then at Marcus, then back at me. I can see his world crumbling, see the confusion and fear written all over his small face. Did you really think I died? He asks, and the question destroys me. Yes, I whisper, tears streaming down my face. And it was the worst thing I've ever felt. But I'm not dead. I'm right here. I know you are. And finding you, seeing you at the park that day, it was like getting my whole heart back. 3 police cars pull into the parking area, officers emerging with hands on their weapons, assessing the scene. Detective Morrison waves them over, showing her credentials and speaking in low, urgent tones. Marcus makes one last desperate attempt. He runs, not away from the police. He's not that stupid. He runs to Leo, grabbing the boy and lifting him into his arms. He's my son, Marcus says wildly, backing away from everyone. You can't take him from me. I'm his father. I've raised him. I love him. Marcus, put him down, one of the officers says, hand moving to his weapon. No, you don't understand. His mother is crazy. She's unstable. She can't take care of him. Marcus is backing toward the parking lot, Leo clutched against his chest. Leo is crying now, scared and overwhelmed. Daddy, you're holding too tight, Leo whimpers. You're hurting me. Put the child down now, the officer commands, his weapon drawn. Everything happens very fast. I press the panic button in my pocket, the one connected to emergency services, adding another layer of police response. Detective Morrison is talking rapidly to the officers, showing them documents on her phone. Vanessa has collapsed into a chair, sobbing. The party guests are backing away, some running to their cars, others filming everything. And Marcus is standing at the edge of the pavilion with my son, wild-eyed and desperate, a man watching his entire world collapse. Marcus, I say, keeping my voice as calm as I can manage. Please, don't hurt him. Whatever happens to you, to us, to any of this, don't hurt Leo. He's innocent. He doesn't deserve to be traumatized more than he already has been. Traumatized? Marcus laughs, but it's a broken sound. You think I'd hurt him? I love him. I've been a good father. I've given him everything. Except the truth, I say quietly. Accept his real mother. Accept the chance to know where he actually came from. I am his real father, Marcus shouts. Biology doesn't matter. I've been there every day. I've raised him. You're just a stranger who happened to give birth. Then prove you love him, I say. Prove you're thinking about what's best for Leo, not what's best for you. Put him down. Let him go. Let the courts figure this out properly. For a long moment, Marcus just stands there, holding Leo, his chest heaving. I can see the calculation in his eyes, see him trying to find a way out, a way to win this. There isn't one. He has to know that. Finally, slowly, he sets Leo down. The moment the boy's feet touch the ground, 2 officers move in, placing themselves between Marcus and Leo, one of them gently guiding the crying child away. Leo is led toward me, and I drop to my knees as he approaches. He's shaking, tears streaming down his face, still clutching Peanut. I'm scared, he sobs. I want to go home. I know, sweetheart. I know you're scared. Everything is going to be okay. But where's home? He asks. And it's such a profound question, such a heartbreaking question. Where do I go? I look up at the officers, at Detective Morrison, at the chaos around us. What happens now? I ask. Detective Morrison crouches beside us. We're going to need to take statements from everyone. The child will need to be placed temporarily while this is sorted out legally. Given the circumstances and your DNA evidence, you have a strong case for emergency custody, but it won't be immediate. There's a process. How long? My voice is barely audible. Could be days, could be weeks. The court will want to verify everything, ensure the child's safety, assess both environments. This is complicated, Mrs. Thompson. I understand. I do understand, even though it's killing me. Where will he go in the meantime? Likely temporary foster care, unless you and Mrs. Harrington can come to some kind of agreement for supervised visits. Vanessa looks up from her crying, her face ravaged. I can't just give him up. I know he's not mine. I know what Marcus did was wrong, but I've been his mother for 5 years. He knows me. He needs me. For the first time since this started, I feel something other than hatred for Vanessa. Not sympathy exactly, but recognition. She loves Leo. Maybe she obtained him through heinous means. Maybe she should have asked more questions. Maybe she's complicit in ways she won't admit. But she does love him. It's just that he was never hers to love. He doesn't need another trauma, I say quietly. He needs stability. He needs to understand what's happening without being torn between strangers. What are you suggesting? Detective Morrison asks. I take a deep breath. Temporary shared custody, supervised visits with both of us separately while the investigation and legal proceedings happen. Leo stays with Vanessa. It's what he knows, where his things are. But I get regular visits so he can get to know me. And Marcus? I look at the man who destroyed my life, who's now being handcuffed by police officers. Marcus doesn't go near him until the courts decide. That's actually reasonable, Detective Morrison says, surprised. Mrs. Harrington, Vanessa nods, unable to speak. And Leo? The detective asks, what does he want? We all look at the little boy standing in the center of this hurricane. His birthday party has turned into a crime scene. His parents are being arrested. His whole world has been revealed as a lie. Leo, I say gently, you don't have to decide anything right now. But I want you to know that no matter what happens, I'm not going away. I'm your birth mother, and I love you, and I'm going to fight to be part of your life. But I also know you're scared and confused, and that's okay. We're going to take this slow, okay? He looks at me with those eyes, my eyes, and asks, can I still call you Miss Sarah? I'm not ready for the other thing yet. My heart breaks and mends simultaneously. You can call me whatever makes you comfortable, I say. Miss Sarah is fine. Okay, he whispers. Then, after a pause, will you still read to me, even with all this happening? I can't help it. I start crying. Yes, baby, I'll read to you as much as you want. He takes a tiny step toward me, then stops. Can I hug you? Is that allowed? I look at Detective Morrison, who nods. Yes, I breathe. Yes, you can hug me. Leo walks into my arms, and I wrap them around him, feeling his small body against mine, feeling his heartbeat, feeling his warmth. This is my son, my child. The baby I thought was dead is alive and in my arms. I hold him while police take Marcus away in handcuffs. I hold him while Vanessa gives her statement, her voice hollow and broken. I hold him while party guests are questioned and released, while Detective Morrison coordinates with social services, while the abandoned birthday cake melts in the sun. I hold my son and I make him a silent promise. I will fix this. I will make sure he's safe and loved and knows the truth. I will be the mother I never got the chance to be, no matter how long it takes. 3 months later, I'm sitting in a courtroom listening to the final verdict. The interim period has been exhausting. Supervised visits with Leo 3 times a week, family therapy sessions, court-appointed psychologists evaluating everyone involved, media attention that turned our tragedy into a national story, and the slow, painful process of helping a 6-year-old understand that his entire life has been a lie. But we've made progress. Leo calls me Mama Nia, now, not Mom. That's still reserved for Vanessa, and I'm not pushing. But Mama Nia is more than I ever hoped for. He reads to me sometimes instead of me reading to him. He told me last week that he's glad I didn't really die. He asked if we could go to the park together, the same park where I first saw him, and play on the swings. We did. I pushed him, and he laughed, and his clothes got dirty, and it was perfect. The judge clears his throat. He's an older man, not Vanessa's father. Judge Harrington recused himself immediately when the scandal broke. This judge has kind eyes but a stern demeanor. This has been one of the most complex cases I've presided over in 30 years on the bench, he begins. We have a child who was stolen from his biological mother through criminal means, but who has bonded with his custodial mother over 5 formative years. We have a biological mother who was grievously wronged, but who lacks an established relationship with the child. And we have a biological father who orchestrated this entire tragic situation. Marcus sits at the defendant's table, flanked by lawyers. He's been charged with kidnapping, fraud, conspiracy, and a dozen other crimes. His trial is ongoing, but today is about custody. The court's primary concern is the welfare of the child. The judge continues. Leo Thompson is 6 years old. He has experienced significant trauma and upheaval. The psychological evaluations indicate that he has formed attachments to both Mrs. Thompson and Mrs. Harrington, though in different ways. I hold my breath. Therefore, the court orders the following. Primary physical custody is granted to Nia Thompson, the biological mother, Mrs. Harrington will have supervised visitation rights, pending completion of a parenting course and continued therapy. As Leo adjusts to his new primary residence, these visits may be expanded. Mr. Thompson's parental rights are hereby terminated, and he is prohibited from contact with the minor child. I barely hear the rest. Primary custody. My son is coming home with me. Vanessa makes a sound like she's been stabbed, but she doesn't protest. She knew this was coming. We've actually talked, she and I, in the strange limbo of shared custody. She's apologized, genuinely apologized for her role in this, even if she still can't fully admit how much she must have known. I don't forgive her. I'm not sure I ever will. But I understand that she's also a victim of Marcus's manipulation, even if she's a victim who benefited from my loss. Mrs. Thompson, the judge says, looking at me directly, I'm placing a significant responsibility on you. This child will need stability, therapy, patience, and love. Can you provide that? I stand, my legs shaking. Yes, Your Honor, I can. I will. He nods. Then this court is adjourned. Bailiff, please bring in the minor. A side door opens, and a social worker enters with Leo. He's wearing his favorite shirt, the dinosaur one I bought him last month, not one of Vanessa's expensive, formal outfits. When he sees me, his face brightens. Mama Nia! He runs to me, and I catch him, lifting him up even though he's getting heavy, holding him tight. "Hey, baby," I whisper into his hair. "Ready to go home?" "Where's home?" he asks. The same question from the birthday party, but different now. Softer. "Home is wherever we are together," I say. "We're going to figure it out as we go. Is that okay?" He thinks about this, then nods against my shoulder. "Can we stop and get ice cream on the way?" I laugh, the sound wet with tears. "Yeah, sweetheart, we can get ice cream." As I carry my son out of the courtroom, past reporters and cameras, past Vanessa who's crying quietly in the corner, past the ghost of Marcus being led back to holding, I think about the journey that brought us here. I think about the park bench 5 months ago where I saw a little boy with my eyes. I think about the 5 years I spent in darkness, believing he was dead. I think about the strength I found when I needed it most, the detective work, the disguises, the infiltration, the final confrontation, and I think about the future. Uncertain and complicated, but ours. That night, I tuck Leo into bed for the first time in his new room. My apartment is small, nothing like Vanessa's mansion, but it's ours. He's chosen where to put his toys, everywhere, making a glorious mess. We've hung pictures on the walls. Peanut the elephant has a place of honor on the pillow. "Mama Nia?" he says as I'm turning off the light. "Yes, baby." "Tell me the story again, about when I was born. The real story." We've been through this several times in therapy, but he needs to hear it, to process it, to understand. "You were born on May 14th, I begin, sitting on the edge of his bed. At 11:47 p.m., and the moment I saw you, I loved you more than anything in the world. You had these beautiful eyes, the same eyes I have that my daddy had, and you had the tiniest fingers and the softest skin, and when you cried, it was the most wonderful sound I'd ever heard." "And then the bad man took me?" Leo asks. "Yes, the bad man, your biological father, took you while I was sleeping. He told me you had died, and he gave you to another woman. And I believed him. For 5 years, I thought you were gone. But then you found me. I found you. At the park. And I knew, the instant I saw your eyes, that you were my baby, my son who I thought I'd lost forever. And now we're together." "Now we're together," I confirm, smoothing his hair back from his forehead. "And nothing is ever going to separate us again." He yawns, fighting sleep. Do you think I'll ever call you just Mom, without the Nia part?" My breath catches. "Only if you want to, sweetheart. Only when you're ready. Maybe someday," he murmurs, his eyes drifting closed. "When I get used to it." "Someday is perfect," I whisper. I sit with him until his breathing evens out, until I'm sure he's deeply asleep. Then I stand, kiss his forehead gently, and walk to the doorway. Before I turn off the light, I look back at him one more time. My son, my miracle, sleeping peacefully in a bed that's actually his, in a home where he's loved unconditionally, where he can make messes and be a child and never doubt that he's wanted. I think about Marcus in his cell, probably still convinced he's the victim in all this. I think about Vanessa in her big empty house, learning to live with the consequences of her choices. And I think about myself, Nia Thompson, a mother who went to war to get her son back and won. "He stole my first 5 years with you," I whispered to my sleeping child. "But I'm going to spend the rest of my life making sure you know how loved you are, how wanted, how precious." I turn off the light and close the door halfway, leaving it open enough that he won't be scared if he wakes up in the night. In the living room, I pour myself a glass of wine and sit on the couch, finally allowing myself to breathe, to feel, to acknowledge what I've done and what it cost. My phone buzzes. A text from Detective Morrison. "How's the first night going?" I type back, "Perfect, terrifying, perfect." Her response, "That's parenthood in a nutshell. You did good, Naya, real good. That boy is lucky to have you." I set down the phone and close my eyes, and for the first time in 5 years and 3 months, I feel something I thought I'd never feel again. Peace. Not happiness. Not yet. There's too much healing to do. Too many hard conversations ahead. Too many nights when Leo will wake up crying, confused, missing the only mother he knew for 5 years. But peace. The peace of knowing my son is alive. The peace of knowing he's safe. The peace of knowing that tomorrow morning, I'll wake up and make him breakfast, and he'll tell me about his dreams, and we'll have a whole day together. A whole lifetime of days. The living room is quiet except for the sound of the city outside my window. Somewhere in this apartment, my 6-year-old son is dreaming. Somewhere in this city, the man who tried to destroy us both is paying for his crimes. And here, in this small apartment with mismatched furniture and toys scattered across the floor, a mother and son are beginning again. I raise my glass to the empty room, to the universe, to whatever force allowed me to find my stolen child. To second chances, I whisper, and to never, ever giving up. Then I set down the wine, pick up the baby monitor I bought yesterday, and listen to the sound of my son breathing. The most beautiful sound in the world. It's May 14th again, Leo's 7th birthday. We're at the same park where I first saw him, but everything is different now. Better. There are about 15 kids here. Leo's actual friends from his new school, the public school where he's thriving without the pressure of being gifted, constantly. They're running around, playing tag, eating cake, being normal 7-year-olds. Leo is laughing, that pure, uninhibited laugh of a child who feels safe. He's wearing shorts with a grass stain and a t-shirt with a chocolate ice cream smear. His hair needs cutting. He's perfect. Mama, he calls, just Mama, now, no, Nia, attached. It took 8 months, but we got there. Mama, watch this. He does a cartwheel, falling halfway through, landing in a giggling heap. I applaud anyway. Excellent form. No, it wasn't. He laughs. I fell. Falling is how we learn, I call back. He grins and runs off to join his friends. I'm not alone at this party. Detective Morrison is here with her wife, having become something of a family friend. Helen Morales came too, finally meeting the child she helped save. Even my therapist came, proud of how far I've come. And in a supervised area, sitting on a bench with a social worker, is Vanessa. Our relationship is complicated. She sees Leo once a month, always supervised, and they're working on redefining what their connection means. He calls her Auntie Nessa now, not mom, but not nothing. It's painful for her, I know, but it's healthier for Leo. She waves at me tentatively, and after a moment, I wave back. Forgiveness is a process. We're not there yet. Maybe we never will be, but we're trying, for Leo's sake. My phone buzzes. A text from an unknown number. I almost delete it, unread, but something makes me open it. I hope he has a good birthday. I think about him every day. I know I don't deserve to, but I do. M. Marcus. Texting from prison through some contraband phone, violating his restraining order one more time. I stare at the message for a long moment, then delete it and block the number. He doesn't get to be part of this. Not today. Not ever. Everything okay? Detective Morrison asks, appearing at my elbow with a plate of cake. Yeah, I say, putting my phone away. Everything's perfect. And I mean it, because across the park, my son is playing with his friends, safe and loved and free. He's got therapy appointments and homework struggles and bad dreams sometimes, but he's also got art projects on the fridge and a new best friend named Jackson and a mother who will never, ever let him go. Marcus stole 5 years from us, but we have the rest of our lives, and that's more than enough.